Question 1. Simplify 2 exponent negative 3 times 16. Simplifying is very common in the No Calculator section of the GED. This question is testing your ability to work with negative exponents. Negative exponents give inverse. So 2 exponent negative 3 is the same as 1 over 2 exponent 3. Note that the 2 comes to the denominator and the exponent negative 3 now becomes exponent positive 3. 2 exponent 3 is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So we have 1 over 8 times 16. This can be written as 1 times 16 over 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So our final answer is 2. Please, if you don't understand anything, it's important you don't brush it off. Ask questions in the comments section or go to our website, ultimateged.com, for more help. Question 2. Find the slope and y-intercept of the line y equals 2x plus 6. You will use the formula for slope-intercept form of the equation of a line, which is y equals mx plus b. This will be given on the GED formula sheet, so you don't have to memorize it, but being familiar with it can help with your speed. In this form, the slope is the m. This is the coefficient of the x, or simply put, what is with the x. So here, the 2, which is the coefficient of the x, is our slope. The y-intercept is the b. This is the constant, or simply put, what is without the x. So here, the 6 will be our y-intercept. Pretty straightforward once you know the formula. There are other forms that require a little more work. We will look at those in later questions, so please watch all of our GED videos. Question 3. We are writing the expression, John is 5 years older than twice Michael's age mathematically. Let's write the expression here so we can easily work with it. Translation of expression is very common on the GED. We will just solve this question and add a link in the description where you can get more information to master it. Please check it out. We can represent John with J and Michael with M. Is means equal to. 5 years older than will be 5 plus. When you see words like bigger than, faster than, more than, and so on, they mean addition. We know that twice means 2 times. So twice Michael's age will be 2 times m. 2 times m is the same as 2m. So we have j equals 5 plus 2m as our answer. Please encourage us to post more videos by liking this video. If we don't know you like it, there will be no reason to post more. Thank you. Question 4. Find the mean, mode, and median of 4, 3, 4, 5, 7, 4, and 8. We will look at this and look at a more challenging one in question 5. Finding the mean is the same as finding the average. We will add all the values and divide it by the number of values. There are 7 values here. So we will have 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 4 plus 8, divided by the number of values, which we know is 7. Adding this, we will have 35 over 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5. Therefore, the mean is 5. The mode is the item with the highest frequency. Here, there are more 4s than any other number, so 4 is the mode. The median is the middle number. To find the median, we first have to arrange the numbers. So we have 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 7, and 8. Here, the median will be 4. It's the number in the middle. Okay, let's look at a more complex question. Question 5. In order to graduate, Michael has to make an average score of at least 90. If he made 95 and 94 on his first 2 tests, what should his minimum score be on his final test in order to graduate? This is an average or mean question. To find the average, we need to add all the scores, divide by the number of tests taken. We've been given the average he must get, which is 90, so we can put it here. Now, we also know the number of tests he's taken. He's taken 2, and there's 1 more left. So he's taken a total of 3 tests. So we can put it here. We know what goes at the top is the sum of the tests. 2 of them have been given. We have 95 as the first score, plus 94 as the second score. We don't know the third score, so we will represent it by x and solve for x. Please learn this setup. It's quite common on the GED. Since the 3 is dividing, we can multiply both sides by 3. This 3 will cancel out. 90 times 3 is 270. Now let's add this. 94 plus 95 is 189. We have a one-step equation. Since the 189 is adding, we can subtract 189 from both sides. This will cancel out. 270 minus 189 is 81. So Michael must get a minimum score of 81 to graduate. There are other ways we could have solved this, but we chose this method because it helps you solve any mean or average question, no matter the twist. Question 6. The average of Michael's test score is 90. If the total score for all his tests is 270, how many tests did he take? This is really the exact same question. We are just finding the number of tests this time. We know that the average equals the sum of test scores divided by the number of tests taken. Here, we have been given the average as 90. We have also been given the sum of test scores, which is 270. We can represent the number of tests taken by x and solve for x. We will multiply both sides by x. The x will cancel out. 90 times x is 90x. So we have 90x equals 270. To find the x, we will divide both sides by 90. The 90 will cancel out. 270 divided by 90 is 3. Therefore, the number of tests taken is 3. Compare the fractions 2 over 3 and 4 over 7. Here, you are supposed to tell if it's less than, greater than, or equal to. To compare 2 fractions, all you have to do is cross multiply them and compare the values. So we will have 2 times 7, which is 14. We have 4 times 3, which is 12. Since 14 is greater than 12, we can say that 2 over 3 is greater than 4 over 7. We are supposed to arrange 1 over 2, 3 over 4, 1 over 5, and 1 over 4 in ascending order. The easiest way to compare multiple fractions is to convert them to their decimal form. These fractions here are common fractions that you have to memorize their decimal forms. 1 over 2 is 0.5. 3 over 4 is 0.75. 1 over 5 is 0.2. 1 over 4 is 0.25. Please memorize them right now. You can also use your calculator to change to decimal by dividing. Example, 1 over 2 is 1 divided by 2, which will give you 0.5. With these, we can arrange them. 0.2, which is 1 over 5, is smallest. Then 0.25, which is 1 over 4. Then 0.5, which is 1 over 2. Then finally, 0.75, which is 3 over 4. Sometimes you will be asked to compare numbers with both decimals and fractions. Example, compare 2 over 3, 0.5, and 3 over 4. Same ideal, change the two fractions into decimals and compare the three decimals. In this question, you are asked to find z. The answer is 50 degrees. It should take you less than a second to solve this. Let's look at how we got it. You just use alternating dots or symbols or whatever to represent the angles. I'm using red and blue dots. All angles labeled red are the same. So here, since the 50 degrees is labeled red and the z is also labeled red, the angles are the same. Please, this is only used when you are working with parallel lines. This question doesn't ask you to find y, but let's look at how you'll go about it. To solve for y, all you need to remember is a blue dot, or however you represented it, plus a red dot adds up to 180. We know the red dot is 50, and also y is a blue dot. So we have 50 plus y equals 180. We solve for y. One-step equation. Since the 50 is adding, we will subtract 50 from both sides. These will cancel out. 180 minus 50 will be 130. Therefore, angle y will be 130 degrees. All the angles with blue dots will be 130 degrees. Let's look at our next question. If x equals -2 and y equals 1, find 3x squared plus 2y minus y squared. Here, you are just supposed to put the x and y values given into the expression. The trick here is testing your ability to find the exponent of negative numbers correctly. So we have 3 times -2 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 1 squared. I just replaced the x with -2 and the y with 1. Please note, I use parentheses for the -2. This is to make sure I square the negative also, not just the 2. If you have -2 squared, this is not the same as -2 squared. If you do not understand this statement, ask a question in the comments section and I'll explain it further. We have 3 times -2 squared, which is 4, plus 2 times 1, which is 2, minus 1 squared, which is 1. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Then minus 1 is 13. So this is our final answer. Let's now look at the next question. We are asked to find the angle x. To solve this, all you have to remember is that the angle on a straight line is 180 degrees. This is a straight line. That means if you add 50 to x, you will get 180. We can solve for x now. One-step equation. Since the 50 is adding, we will do the opposite operation on it. So we will subtract 50 from both sides. These will cancel out. 180 minus 50 is 130. Therefore, x is 130 degrees. We want to find the angle B. Here again, we have angles on a straight line. So 75 plus B plus 60 must be equal to 180. We can add the 75 and 60 to get 135. We have B plus 135 equals 180. We have a one-step equation. Since the 135 is adding, we can subtract 135 from both sides. This will cancel out. 180 minus 135 is 45. So B is 45 degrees. In order to ship 2,500 gallons of a product to another country, Standing Coast Shipping Company had to package the gallons into boxes. If they had 20 boxes and 100 gallons left, how many gallons were in a box? This kind of two-step equation word problem is very common on the GED. Unfortunately, most students get it wrong. We are going to make sure you don't get them wrong. You have three values in these type of questions. Let's write them down. We have 2,500 gallons. We have 20 boxes. And finally, we have 100 gallons. The 2,500 gallons represents the total. So we have equals 2,500. The 20 boxes is what I call the group. The gallons have been grouped into boxes. For most questions, the group can also be identified as the number that represents something different from the other two numbers. So here, 2,500 represents gallons. The 100 also represents gallons, but the 20 represents boxes. So the 20 will be the group. The group is the one with the x. So we will have 20x. We can now add the 100 gallons left to the equation and solve for the x in this two-step equation. Subtract 100 from both sides. These will cancel out. 2,500 minus 100 will be 2,400. We now have 20x equals 2,400. Divide both sides by 20. The 20 will cancel out. 2,400 divided by 20 will be 120. This means there were 120 gallons in each box. The hard part of this question is to be able to pull out the values from the word problem. Before we take our next question, please smash the like button to encourage us to post more free videos. Thanks. "235 students went on a school field trip. 5 buses were filled, and 15 students had to travel in cars. How many students were in each bus?" You can pause the video and try it. We have to identify our three parts. The three numbers we have are 235 students, 5 buses, and 15 students. I'm sure you can identify all the parts. The total is 235 students. The group is students and buses. We said another easy way to identify this is that the two numbers represent students, but the group number represents buses. The value that was not part of the group was 15 students. So we can write our equation as 5x plus 15 equals 235. Now, we can solve the two-step equation. Subtract 15 from both sides. The 15 will cancel out. 235 minus 15 is 220. We have 5x equals 220. We can now divide both sides by 5. The 5 will cancel out. 220 divided by 5 is 44. That means there are 44 students on each bus. I'm sure you get the point here. Please, although this is the most common kind of two-step word problem, it is not the only kind. We will look at more in subsequent videos, so please subscribe and turn on your notification. Here, we are supposed to solve for x given this rectangle. We know that the perimeter simply means adding all the sides. We know this is a rectangle, so opposite sides have the same size. This place will also be 2x plus 3. This will be 3x plus 7. Now, we can add all these parts and it must be equal to the perimeter 50. We have 3x plus 7 plus 2x plus 3 plus 3x plus 7 plus 2x plus 3. We can add all the x terms. 3x plus 2x plus 3x plus 2x. This will give us 10x. We can add the numbers 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 3. This will give us 20. We have a two-step equation here. Subtract 20 from both sides. The 20 will cancel out. 50 minus 20 is 30. Now we have 10x equals 30. We can divide both sides by 10. The 10 will cancel out. 30 divided by 10 is 3. So we have x equals 3. We are factoring the quadratic x squared minus 5x minus 6. You will find two numbers that multiply to get the constant. In this case, the negative 6. The two numbers must also add up to get the coefficient of the x, which is negative 5. This takes some trial and error and depends mainly on how good your multiplication is. The two numbers here will be negative 6 and 1. Negative 6 times 1 will be negative 6. Negative 6 plus 1 will be negative 5. After finding these numbers, all you do is put them in parentheses with the x, and you are done. So we have x minus 6 and x plus 1. Please, this method works only if there is no number in front of the x squared. In math, we say the coefficient of the x squared is 1. We want to factorize x squared plus 8x plus 12. We will find two numbers that multiplies to get the constant 12. The two numbers must also add to get the coefficient of the x, which is 8 here. The two numbers will be 2 and 6. 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 plus 6 is 8. So we will have x plus 2 and x plus 6 as our final answer. John loaned his roommate $2,000 at a rate of 4%. If the interest John received was $160, how long did it take the roommate to pay the loan? This is another common kind of word problem. This is a simple interest question. The formula for finding simple interest is the principal times the rate times the time. Here, the principal, which is the amount the roommate took, is $2,000. The rate is 4%. We can convert it to decimal as 0.04. We just did 4 over 100. The interest John received was $160. The time is what we are supposed to find. Let's represent it by t. Let's put the values we have into the equation and solve for t. So we will have 160 equals 2,000 times 0.04 times t. 2,000 times 0.04 is 80. 160 equals 80t. We have a one-step equation. We will divide both sides by 80. This will cancel out. 160 divided by 80 is 2. Therefore, it took the roommate 2 years to pay the money back. Here, we are supposed to find the area of the green shaded portion. Questions like this is also very common. The work here is to find the areas of the two shapes and subtract it. We start by finding the area of the rectangle. This is the length times the width. So we will have 5 times 7, which is 35. Next, we find the area of the triangle. We know that it's base times the height over 2. The base is 3 and the height is 4. We have 3 times 4 divided by 2. This will give us 6. So the area of the shaded portion will be 35 minus 6. This will be 29. We are looking at a similar problem. We want to find the area of the green shaded portion. Again, all we have to do is find the areas of the two shapes and subtract them. Here we have a circle of radius 5, inscribed in a square. The formula for finding the area of a circle is pi times r squared, where r is the radius. So we have 5 squared times pi. This will give us 25 pi. The value of pi is approximately 3.142. So we have 25 times 3.142, which is 78.55. Now, we find the area of the square. The area of a square is the length squared. We have not been given the length, but we can find it. Since this is the radius, if we extend it to touch the other side of the square, we will have the diameter. The length of the diameter will be the same length of the square. The diameter is 2 times radius, which is 2 times 5. The diameter is therefore 10, so the length of the square is also 10. Now, we find the area. The area will be 10 squared. This will give us 100. Finally, we subtract the two areas to get the area of the shaded portion. We have 100 minus 78.55. The area of the shaded portion is therefore 21.45. A hotel charges $120 for the first night and $100 per night for any additional night. If Vivian spent $420 at the hotel, how many nights did she stay there? This is also another very common kind of two-step GED word problem. Here, all our three values are in dollars, so you have to find the group in a different way. I call it the revolving. So again, we will have our total. Here, the total is $420. This is the total amount of money Vivian spent at the hotel. The group, which we are calling the revolving, is the value that keeps happening, usually per day or per hour or something like that is with it. So here, we have $100 per night. So this will be 100. We also know the group has the X. Finally, we have what is left, or the fixed value. Here, it is $120 for the first night. We can write the two-step equation for it. We have 100x plus 120 equals 420. We subtract the 120 from both sides. The 120 will cancel out. 420 minus 120 will be 300. So we have 100x equals 300. Next, we will divide both sides by the 100. This will cancel out. 300 divided by 100 is 3. So x equals 3. Please, when you come to the end of every math question, you should be aware of what you were solving for and what the question is asking. Please take note. A lot of students get wrong answers because they give answers that was not what the question is asking. Here, the 3 we had is the additional night she spent. To get the total nights, we have to add the first night to it. So, she spent a total of 4 nights. We will look at a similar two-step word problem, but before we do that, let's look at this simple question that students get wrong because they give an answer that the question wasn't asking. 5x minus 3 equals 7. Find 3x. 5x minus 3 equals 7. We have a two-step equation. Add 3 to both sides. This will give us 5x equals 10. Divide both sides by 5. This will give us x equals 2. Some students choose 2 to be the answer. The question is asking us to find 3x. 3x equals 3 times 2, since x is 2. This will give us 6 as the final answer. Please, we make these videos for you, so engage with it. Like, subscribe, and ask questions. We appreciate topic suggestions too. Okay, let's look at our next question. I have 50 assignments to complete my course this semester. Each day, I complete 2 of them. If there are 22 more assignments to be done, how many days have I been doing my assignments? This will also be a two-step equation just like we did earlier. The total will be 50 because that's the total number of assignments I have. Since all 3 values are assignments, our group will be our revolving number. Here, we do not see per day, but we can clearly see this statement. Each day, I complete 2 of them. It's the same as saying I complete 2 assignments per day. So this will be 2x. Finally, we have what is left, or the fixed value. Here, this will be 22. We can write our two-step equation. We have 2x plus 22 equals 50. We subtract 22 from both sides. The 22 will cancel out. 50 minus 22 is 28. We have 2x equals 28. Next, we will divide both sides by 2. The 2 will cancel out. 28 divided by 2 is 14. This means that I have been doing my assignment for 14 days. For teaching purposes and clarity, I write a lot of things down. Please, on your GED test, don't waste your time writing things unless they are absolutely necessary. All these here are unnecessary to write. You can easily jump to this part if you know what you're doing. All you need is knowing what you're revolving, your fixed, and your total values are. You can solve for x from this point. In a future GED video, we will spend time teaching techniques to increase your speed on the GED test. Look out for it. Please subscribe and turn on your notification. Let's look at our next question. An angle is 2 times its supplement. What is the angle? This question is really just testing if you know what the supplementary angles are. Supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. So if angle A is, let's say, 150 degrees, then angle B must be 30 degrees. 150 plus 30 equals 180. So for this question, if we say the supplement is x, then the angle will be 2x because it is 2 times the supplementary angle. We say that they must add up to get 180 degrees. So we have 2x plus x equals 180. We add the x plus 2x to get 3x equals 180. We can now divide both sides by 3. The 3 will cancel out. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So x equals 60. Here again, we have to be careful to note what the question is asking. What we just found is x, and we know that x is the supplement. The angle is 2 times the supplement, so we have 2 times 60. The angle is therefore 120. We are deliberately bringing questions like this so that you will learn to be careful with what the question is asking for. You should not do all this work and get the answer wrong because you chose 60 instead. Okay, let's move to our next question. Find the slope of a line that passes through the point 2, 4 and the point 6, 5. To find the slope of a line giving 2 points, we will use the slope formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Formulas are given on the GED, so don't worry too much about it. Of course, memorizing it can save you some time on the test. Please note that you can call any of the point 1 or 2. I'm choosing this as 1 and this as 2. We know that when you have a point, the first value is your x and the second value is your y. Since we are calling this point 1, we will have x1, y1 here. Same thing for this. Since we are calling this our point 2, we can call this x2, y2. We just put the values into the formula. We have 5, which is y2 minus 4, which is y1, divided by 6, which is x2 minus 2, which is x1. We simplify. 5 minus 4 is 1 over 6 minus 2, which is 4. So the slope is 1 over 4. We are multiplying the polynomial 2x minus 3 by the polynomial 3x plus 3. This question could have also been multiply 2x minus 3 by 3x plus 3 using the FOIL method. It's the same process. You have to multiply each term and the second polynomial by the terms in the first polynomial. So the 2x will multiply the 3x. Then it will multiply the 3. Next, the negative 3 will multiply the 3x and then the 3. Please note that when you have a minus, you will use it as the sign of the number following it when multiplying. That's why we are using negative 3. Now, let's do the multiplication. 2x times 3x will give us 6x squared. 2x times 3 will give us 6x. Next, negative 3 times 3x will give us negative 9x. Negative 3 times 3 will give us negative 9. Next, we can add like terms. 6x minus 9x. This will give us negative 3x. So our final answer will be 6x squared minus 3x minus 9. Find the length of the side marked x. When you see this mark here, it means it's perpendicular, or simply put, the angle is 90 degrees. Sometimes you will be told it's a right triangle and no angles will be given. You should know that right triangles have one angle being 90 degrees. Since this angle is 90 degrees, we can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve. Hypotenuse, which is the long side, square, equals a squared plus b squared, where a and b are the two other sides. Here, the long side, or hypotenuse, is what we are finding. So we have x squared equals 4 squared plus 3 squared. 4 squared is 16, and 3 squared is 9. We add them. 16 plus 9 is 25. To find x, we will find the square root of both sides. This will cancel out. Square root of 25 is 5. Therefore, x equals 5. A pole, which is 4 feet tall, casts a shadow 3 feet on the ground. What is the distance from the top of the pole to the end of the shadow it casts? This is pretty much the same question as 37. Let's get a diagram. So this is our pole, which is 4 feet. This is the shadow it casts, which is 3 feet. We are supposed to find the distance from the top of the pole to the end of the shadow. We will see that we have formed a right triangle exactly like in 37. We solve it exactly the same way. X squared equals 4 squared plus 3 squared. So you solve it and get the distance as 5 feet. Same as 37. Another very common kind of setup used in GED is the ladder on the wall. A ladder is touching a vertical wall at 4 feet above the ground. The bottom of the ladder is 3 feet from the wall. What is the length of the ladder? So the diagram will look like this. The diagram is obviously not accurate. This is the wall, and this is the floor. The ladder is 4 feet on the wall and is 3 feet on the ground. You can see that the ladder, x, forms a right triangle with the wall and the floor. We can therefore use the same method to find the length of the ladder. Find the volume of a cylinder that has a diameter of 12 and a height of 15. The formula for finding the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h, where r is the radius and h is the height. A lot of the GED geometry questions are just formula work. The values you are given might not match the formula, so you will have to do a little work. Here, we have been given the height, so we put it in the formula. Next, we need the radius. We have been given the diameter. We know that the radius is diameter divided by 2. So we do that to get 6 as our radius. So we have the volume to be pi, which is 3.142 times 6 squared times 15. We input this into our calculator and get the volume of the cylinder to be 1696.7. Sometimes GED questions are not that straightforward. This same question could have been worded this way. John wants to fill a barrel of diameter 12 feet and height 15 feet with oil. What is the volume of oil he can put into the barrel without spilling it? This is exactly the same question. First, you have to know that the barrel is a cylinder, so you can replace the word barrel with cylinder. Second, you have to know that volume of the cylinder will be the same as the volume of the oil that will be put into it without spilling it. When rolling a 6-sided dice, what is the probability that the number is 4 or greater? Probability is desired outcome divided by total possible outcome. When you roll a dice, there are 6 possible outcomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We want the outcome to be 4, 5, or 6. That is 3 desired outcomes. So we divide. 3 divided by 6. This will give us 1/2 as our final answer. What is 20% of 300? Percentage questions are one of the most common GED math questions. There are 2 easy ways of solving questions like this. In this video, we will use the word problem method. You can check out our GED 2019 video for the other method. In percentage questions, of means multiplication. Is means equal to. We already know that percentage means divided by 100. And when you see something like what or what number, it means something you don't know. So you can represent it by X or any letter. So with this, let's solve this question. Let's translate it to math and solve it. We said that what means an unknown, so we can represent it by X. Is means equal to. We write our 20. Percentage means over 100. Of means multiplication. And we have our 300. After translation to math, the rest is your basic math ability to reduce and multiply. These 2 zeros here will cancel these 2 zeros here. We have 20 times 3 to give us 60 as our answer. 30% of what number is 15? Let's translate to math. We have 30. We know that percent means over 100. Of means multiplication. What number is our unknown, so we can represent it by X. Is means equal to. Then we have our 15. Now that we have translated, we just solve for the X to get our answer. We want to move everything to the other side of the equation by performing the opposite operation on them. Here, the 100 is dividing, so we will multiply both sides by 100. This will cancel out. The 30 is multiplying, so we will divide both sides by the 30. The 30 will cancel out. Now, we come back to your ability to reduce and multiply. This 0 can cancel one of the zeros here. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we have 5 times 10. This gives us 50 as our answer. For questions like these, you just have to know how to set it up. Then it is up to your basic multiplication and division to come to the final answer. If you think you need further breakdown, you can check out our Ultimate Algebra suite that covers from pre-algebra to algebra 2. Link in the description. Let's move to our next question. Here, we are supposed to find the area of the given figure. The work here is to divide the figure into multiple rectangles and find the area of each rectangle. Then finally add the areas to get the area of the figure. So I'll draw a line here and also a line here. So let's label this rectangle A, B, and C. To find the area of rectangle A, we have the length of 2 times the width of 6. This will give us 12. To find the area of rectangle C, we have a length of 3 times a width of 5. This will give us 15. To find the length and width of triangle B requires a little bit of work. We know that from here to here is 6. Since in a rectangle, the opposite sides are equal. If the whole side is 6 and this is 4, then the side left will be 2. We do the same for this side. Here, we have been given that from this point to this point is 9. We know that this side is 2, and we also know that this side is 3. So we can subtract 2 and 3 from 9 to find out what this section is. 9 minus 2 minus 3 is 4. Now we have our 2 dimensions. We multiply the 2 by the 4 to get 8. We add the area of the 3 triangles, 12 plus 15 plus 8, to get 35 as the area. Where you draw your lines is really up to you, but you must make sure you find the sides after drawing the lines. I chose to draw my lines here and here. So I had rectangles A, B, and C this way. You could have chosen to draw your lines here and here rather. These will be your rectangles A, B, and C. If you find the areas of these 3 rectangles and add them, you will still get 35 as your answer. I actually think this will be easier. You can try it. Please ask questions if you don't understand anything. Here, we want to find the area of the inscribed circle. Given that the area of the square is 81, the area of a square is length squared. We have been given the area as 81. So we have L squared equals 81. To find length, we will perform the opposite operation. Since we have squared, we will find the square root of both sides. Square root of L squared is L, and square root of 81 is 9. So the length of the square is 9. You will notice that the length of the square will be the same as the diameter of the circle, so we can say that the diameter of the circle is also 9. The area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. We know that the radius of a circle is half the diameter. So the radius is 9 divided by 2, which is 4.5. Now, we can put our radius into this formula and solve. Area equals pi times 4.5 squared. Pi is 3.14 and 4.5 squared is 20.25. The area is therefore 3.14 times 20.25, which is 63.585. This required a lot of steps. Please go over it and visit our website to try similar questions so you can master it and improve your speed. The area of a circle is 25 pi. What is the circumference? This is also another common question. Here, you are given either the perimeter and asked to find the area or vice versa. The most important thing here is knowing or remembering how to use the formula for area and the formula for circumference. The formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared. We are told the area is 25 pi. We can equate the two. Divide both sides by pi. The pi's will cancel out. We now have r squared equals 25. To remove the squared, we will find the square root of both sides. Square root of r squared is r. Square root of 25 is 5. So r is 5. Now, to find the circumference, the formula is 2 pi r. We have our r to be 5. So we have 2 times 5 pi. This will give the circumference as 10 pi. Let's look at a similar question. The perimeter of a rectangle is 20. If the length of the rectangle is 6, what will be the area? Again, the work here is being able to use both the formula for perimeter and the formula for area. The perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times length and width. We are told that the perimeter is 20, so we can equate this to 20. We have been given the length as 6, so we can put it in the formula. We can now solve for the width. Divide both sides by 2. The 2 will cancel out. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Next, we will subtract 6 from both sides. The 6 will cancel out. 10 minus 6 is 4. So the width is 4. Now that we know the length and the width, we can find the area. The area of a rectangle is length times the width. We have area equals 6 times 4. This will give us the area as 24. A farmer rented a tractor at 8 a.m. and returned it at 5 p.m. He paid $36. What was the rental cost per hour? This is a rate question. It's simply a division question. You will know what you are dividing by looking at this statement, cost per hour. So we are dividing the cost by the hours. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is 9 hours. So we have 36 divided by 9. This will give us a rental cost of $4 per hour. Let's look at our next question. In a hospital, the ratio of nurses to patients is 2 to 9. If there are 10 nurses, how many patients are at the hospital? You can write the ratio 2 to 9 as 2 over 9. We will equate this to 10 over p. where P represents patients. We wrote the 10 on the top because the ratio of nurses is on the top. We wrote P at the bottom because the ratio of patients is at the bottom. We can now solve for P. First, cross multiply. So we will have 2P equals 9 times 10, which is 90. We divide both sides by 2. The 2 will cancel out. 90 divided by 2 is 45. So there are 45 patients in the hospital. Find x and the inequality negative 5x minus 2 greater or equal to 28. Solving inequalities is just like solving equations. First, add 2 to both sides. This 2 will cancel out. 28 plus 2 is 30. Next, we divide both sides by negative 5. When you divide by a negative number, the inequality changes. Please take note of that. So this becomes less or equal to. The negative 5 can cancel out. 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6. Therefore, x is less or equal to negative 6. For question 40, we want you to write in the comments section a question for us to solve. This can be a question you saw in the GED or a question you saw in a book. It could also be a topic you find difficult. We will pick some of the questions and teach you how to easily solve it. Let's end this video here. Please like and share this video and subscribe for more GED videos. Also, visit our website, ultimateged.com. Link in the description and get more help. There's a lot more we have to cover, so see you in the next video.